of the Dead, publisher of I was counting them, like 1,000 comics. So that's another conversation, another day. But anyway, today, what we're focused on is Scott from Door Kickers. Scott McCullough has Door Kickers. It's ending in a week. He and I haven't had a chance to do a show yet. Totally focused on Door Kickers. That's what this is all about. It's important people know what's going on with Door Kickers, and that's what we're going to be talking about. That's what we're going to be focused on. Scott, you keep doing updates to Door Kickers. There's a lot of things that's been going on with it.
Yeah, man. I think it's so important to do that heartbeat, every day. You got to let people know that, that you're still there. Some days I get sales and some days I don't get sales, and that's fine. But but the updates are as much for the people who have already backed the project, so that they'll keep, having the trust with me that we're still rolling.
The other sense that I get from looking at Door Kickers as you're doing those updates is it really feels like I'm watching the book get done. Like I see the black and white pages, I see color pages, I see, other concept artwork.
The character art, that's been a big thing. I had a lot of great comic books folks jump in and volunteer their services for those character drawings. As a matter of fact, this past week I was pretty excited. I got Andrew Huertas. He's been a busy dude, so when a guy like Andrew offers to help you out, you don't keep coming back and asking him, when am I going to get it? You just wait for the magic to happen. And man, he really delivered this week. So I can't wait to share that with your audience. And I've also got the other big thing that popped up this week was the print by a really talented artist that I'm going to refer to as Gabo. His name is, let me refer if I can remember it, Gabo Elias Ibarra Nunez.
Oh, yeah. I saw you write the name. I'm like, all right, it's either Canales or it's not. It's not Canales.
It's not Canales.
It's not Canales. So it's some other person with a very long, interesting name.
Yeah, he's from Chile, and he is amazing. And he's been kind of showing me his art for a little bit, and then he did a test sketch of a female character for another project I'm looking into, and cool. And so then then this week he got to work on the print, and man, he just knocked it right out. We did a little bit of tweaking on it. He works digitally, like so many do these days, and he was able to really make those changes quick. And man, you know what? Let me.
I'm looking at
my screen, and we can look at it.
Yeah. We're gonna get over to you. Okay. Yeah, because now the more you talk about it, the more I'm curious to see it. All right, let's get over there.
All right, let me look at this. All right, let's talk. This is a good place to start because, all right, so now I got to pull it up. All right, so this is it. Can you see it?
I got you full screen. Oh, no, that's you over there. All right, we're going to add to the stream. There it is. Whoa.
Yeah. This
thing. Oh, yeah. I did see that last night. That is great.
This thing is killer. So he, like I said, he works digitally. And he's really good with guns and just kind of gear. He's got very natural, posing, and his faces are good. So he's got the total package. And he, when I asked him, like, really, who's your influences, he said, John Paul Leon is a big one for him, and also Mike Mignola. Who else? A couple others, but I mean, a lot of John Paul Leon. I had no idea who he was when he mentioned him.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists out there.
I just, they're big. They've gotten big in the last, 20 years or so, and that I just wasn't following comics that much in the last 20 years. So when guys like him mentioned, folks like that, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, who the heck's that?
I'm kind of clueless. So.
Yeah.
But I know what looks good, and damn if this doesn't look good. Let me see if I can.
You definitely know what looks good. I'm glad you're showing this, and I want to see all the special stuff that people didn't originally show or see when it was launched.
Yeah. Let's see
Edward.
what else. What else do I have? So let me just stop sharing this for now, because one of the other things I want to do is I want to show off the character sketches that. So there's 6 artists, 6 character sketches.
Whoa, 6 artists?
Yeah, 6 artists.
That's a
So
big job.
I've got 6 different characters in my team, right? It's a 6-man team.
Yeah.
5 man and 1 woman. And so I got different CG artists. I just kind of threw the ball out there. I was like, hey, who would be interested in helping me do this? Because ultimately, I'm looking at doing something kind of like the official handbook to the Marvel Universe. You know how like they
I
have
love that idea.
they have the character and then they've got the write up on them.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at doing something like that for the book. And so I wanted just to get, 6 different artists, and, it was super easy. I just kind of threw it out there and these guys all said they were interested. So the 6 artists are Eric Weathers, Kelsey Shannon, Matt Weldon, Ted Lehman. He's the guy who did my cover, Huerta, and I'm missing one. Donald DeLay.
Yeah,
So,
Donald's great.
Yeah. Oh, Donald's piece is awesome. So anyway, we could jump right in and I could just show these all off.
Yeah, I want to see all of those. All right, can you share your screen again?
Yeah, let me cue them up first.
Okay.
And then I'll share the screen, because
all these guys are busy, but they all love you and they all love Door Kickers.
I have been so blessed with the response to this book. It's you know how it is. It's such a crowded market space that we're in that you're just lucky to, have people that are interested in what you're doing. And so I'm just so, I wasn't quite sure how successful we'd be, and I'm just blessed to be where we're at. I hope we can get 10,000 in the last week, but all right. So
I'm expecting those numbers to keep going up, up, and the more people find out about the book, the more people get it. You'll do another one. People will buy that one. They'll be interested in the first one. It's going to get more and more exciting as time goes on, and people get to know you.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And that's part of it. You've got the whole. It's an iterative process. Whether they get to know me through the book, or then they get to know me on a YouTube channel, or whatever it is. There's just a lot of opportunities out there, and then every time a new thing comes down, you've got somewhat of a built-in audience. Because these are people who have.
They know you. They want to support you. Hey, just guys, real quick. Alejandro, the artist on Long Harbor, he's I think it's like that. He's a little bit of a different time zone, so we've reached out to him. We're expecting him. If not, we're still going to discuss Long Harbor. We expect him to join us. He also did a little work on Door Kickers. He designed something, and Scott will tell us more about that. But we will let him know. So if he pops in, if he's available, great. If not, we're going to bring him on another time with Scott and talk about Door Kickers. Just again, more Door Kickers talk, more doors to kick open.
Dude, absolutely. And so the thing. So just real quick, talking about getting lucky with artists who are willing to work with me. With Alejandro, as soon as I saw Long Harbor, I knew I wanted to do something with him, because, that the quality of that art and his vision of just horror, the whole, kind of that melding of various organic and alien kind of structures together is very unique. So I knew I wanted to do something with him. And I was hoping maybe for like a cover or something like that early on.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't available this summer when I really needed to get that stuff done for the campaign. So I kept kind of humping his leg, and
not
finally,
literally, right?
Well,
whatever it takes.
And he finally said, yeah, okay, I got some time to do some stuff. So I got him to do some character design for or monster design, creature design, whatever you want to call it, for the big bad in my book, the Panzer Demon. So, the Panzer Demon is a thing, that's what the title of the book is. And so by the end of the book, you will meet that character, and you will know the uniqueness of it is absolutely will be Alejandro's doing, because he's already. So I'm going to show. I showed a rejected design earlier this week.
Yeah.
Today, if he comes on, he's going to. The idea is for him to finish up on it live on air the actual design. But if that doesn't work out, then I'm going to show the initial designs that he gave me that were accepted. So the stuff that people haven't seen yet this week, I'm going to show that, and then I'll pop it out into Twitter probably later today or tomorrow.
Fantastic. And your Twitter again? Can you message it in the chat?
Yeah. So let me.
Yeah, because I know it's not as easy as mine. Don't want people misspelling it.
I know. That's the good news is it's my name, so that's. Let me see. I got to. It's so hard sometimes. Like the whole YouTube's is hard.
It's hard to do a few different things at the same time. You have to get kind of good at that.
Well, the thing is, and this is something I've learned, especially in work, is that, you can multitask. It's totally doable. The problem is that you don't do two things well as good as you can do one thing well. So
me especially.
Yeah, and we're so damn old,
206 tomorrow, actually. You should wish me a happy birthday. No, 49. Still got a little time left, but yep, 49.
So the Twitter is, I'm just going to drop the my Twitter address in
the chat.
Yeah,
I saw somebody do this where they put the Twitter address next to their name. It's just like such an easy reference. So that's why mine says @Comics We Love. And everybody, definitely make sure you're subscribed to the Comics We Love channel. Also, Half Speed Tucci. Go ahead and like and share this so other people can see it. Scott is really going to do his big last push now for the last 7 days of Door Kickers. We want him to do as much business as possible, be as successful as possible, because that if you look at Door Kickers, it's a great first effort. It's a great first comic. It's a great 10th comic. But to see a really good, solid first comic get some success, we can get a lot more good comics out of this guy. You know what I mean? So the numbers have to be there to do it. I'm really happy with my book, College of the Dead. We exceeded our goal, and the goal was a little high in the first place for us. So that my book is at the printer right now, and will be shipping on time to be delivered everywhere in the world, October 2019, next month. I can't believe it's next month. Time goes fast, but it's fantastic. Yeah, man, it's fantastic. But we want Scott in Comicscape. We want to see a lot more great comics from Scott.
Oh yeah.
He's got a lot of ideas, and he doesn't tell you all of his ideas, but you can see
I'm all about it, man. Yeah.
He's got like 5 ideas in there, but then there's one that's like going to be the next one.
So let me go ahead and share my screen. We'll go through the character sketches.
Scott, I'm sorry I have to interrupt for a second. Yeah, Zayd Comics, Phil is right. We do have to do the magic stream. That was an idea that I had. It didn't. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do a stream where we just focus on just magic projects. And that'll be our Comicsgate Live, like the magic show. So we'll get there. It's just a matter of timing and all that jazz.
I think we could do that this week, probably. I told my wife,
okay.
I was like, listen, baby, I'm going to be on YouTube more than you like this week. So it's I told her it's the last week for the book. And then once the campaign closes out and it's in demand, I told her I'd go radio silent for like 2 weeks. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so that'll work out, and let's see if we can't do that this week, because Phil.
Magic Cop's got to be wrapping soon too, right?
That's
like literally the most magical cop comic I think I've ever seen. Magic Cop. I mean, there've been other magic comics, and there was that series that Cops did, but I've never seen one quite so magical and copish at the same time.
That's right. But the best thing about it is it's set like in Miami Vice world too. I love it.
The 80s. Yeah.
All right. So if you can share my screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. Can we see this? Yeah.
Yeah. So, he looks great.
Yeah. So this is Bill. This is the team leader, right? This is Eric Weathers. He just nailed it right out of the gate.
Wow.
So this guy is the one who I don't know if you saw the page 7 preview I did on Twitter recently, where the cultists start giving them some shit, and basically he caps him in the back of the head. Well, this is the guy who does it. This is Bill. His background is he's a Delta Force operator. He's a team leader. If you saw the 10-page free preview that I did, this guy is the one who ends up joining the team, joining the Door Kickers after that book is finished. So he's a key player, right? He's not
very cool.
The cool thing I like about him is that as of right now, there is nothing magical about him. He's just
interesting. He's part of the Door Kickers group, but he does not have. I actually wasn't sure about that. I was thinking about that earlier when I knew we were going to come on together. I'm like, I know that person has the finger gun, which I freaking love that effect.
Right.
I love how it was executed. Farrah is fantastic. Your colorist. But they're not. So some of them have magical powers, some of them don't.
Yeah, so let me go through the list here. So yeah. Bill has no powers. He uses mainly they have these types of bullets called Reaver rounds that are essentially, if you think about summoning a very small angry demon and then encapsulating it into a bullet, that's what they shoot out of their guns in order to do damage against. So when the bullet hits, this demon or whatever, it releases this small, angry, hungry demonic entity into their body, and it just starts eating. And so it does a lot of damage, and it's just a really kind of nasty little thing. And so that's what we talk about the Reaver rounds in the 10-page preview. And that's the kind of Bill's line. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll join as long as I can get a hold of some of those Reaver rounds, because essentially he was using his regular bullets against these critters in the 10-pager, but they just weren't going down. But when Jigna, the female character, uses her gun, just like his gun, it looks just like his, but she's got the special rounds that'll make those things go down. So they're very effective.
Very cool.
So that's Bill. No magic.
So the rounds are magical.
The rounds are magical. So these guys use magical equipment. So think of like a fighter in Dungeons and Dragons. He may not be using magic, but he's got magic, equipment. So same thing with Bill. And the idea is that I don't want to really just say I don't want to deck them in magic stuff just to kind of, if it has a use for the story, if it belongs in their world, then I'll talk about it. But if it doesn't, then I'm just not gonna kind of wax poetically about all the magic stuff that they have. It's kind of like, you'll learn about it as the story reveals it. All right, so on screen now is Jigna. She is she's the intel person for the team, and she does have a magic power. So her magic ability is that she has the ability to listen to understand any language just immediately, right? So do you remember the old New Mutants character Cypher? It's kind of a similar power as that, except for hers is more based on magic, than just mutant ability or whatever. So she is. This is done by Kelsey Shannon, and he colored this as well. And it's just, it just blew me away when he sent it in.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Kelsey's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and they drew it live on the Jack Show one night, so that was pretty entertaining as well. I think eventually I'm gonna clip that out and.
Oh yeah, you have to. That would be a great update, a great campaign update. Wow.
Yeah, but it's so many things, so little time.
Yeah, hey, exactly.
But so anyway, this is Jigna. She has earned her spot. She is not as big as the other guys. Her gun is not as powerful, whatever, but she brings a unique skill set, and she has earned her place on this team, because, while they don't expect her to bench press 350, they expect her to do a certain amount, and she does that. And, she exceeds the standard that they set for her. And so she has earned her spot on this team. She is no Mary Sue. Yeah, absolutely.
That's teamwork. That's cool.
You
It's
know,
great.
and so she's very a little more top heavy in this version than I originally went with. But if Kelsey draws it, then it's so.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for her.
So this is
She got
canon
an
now.
upgrade.
That's right. So let me go to the next team member.
Cool.
So this is Parker. Now this is the new one I got this week. Man, Huerta just killed this. I love that. At first I didn't understand his style. And then I started looking at his stuff, and the
Yeah.
more I appreciated it, because he doesn't just do it capriciously. It's very kind of well designed.
Yeah.
And so I
It's
love
very coherent. It's very well executed.
Yeah, I love this. I love this, both the style, but I also just love this image.
It's a
So this
beautiful
is
piece.
Parker. He's the medic. Now, to look at him, you wouldn't know he's a medic, but I mean, he's not the. This is what you get when you spend your life having kind of a magic family. His family is he's got a background like a grandmother who's a like a Celtic healer. And so he knew the healing arts, and he was drawn to the medical profession, but he also wanted to be a soldier. So when he joined the military, he became special operations. He's what's called a 18 Delta, which is the medical specialty within special operations, special forces. So he did 20 years as a Green Beret. So he's a little older than some of the other guys on the team. He's probably in his late 40s, early 50s. But between his magic healing abilities and, just because you're old doesn't mean you can't keep going.
Hey, I'm proof of that.
Well, I mean,
Hey.
some would argue, but,
They'd be wrong. No, very cool. That's beautiful.
So this is Parker. He hasn't really been featured too much in the stuff that I've shown, but he comes into it later, and he definitely saved Jigna's bacon after she reads some stuff she probably shouldn't be reading. So you'll see that soon in some of the pages that'll get colored this week.
Excellent. The colored pages are always exciting to see from you, man.
Yeah, no, and Farrah always, she never disappoints. She really gets me as far as what I want to show in the colored art.
She puts in 110%. There's no question.
Oh, absolutely. And the other cool thing is that she works in a studio in Indonesia, a coloring studio. So she's, done a lot of stuff that you may have seen, but it's never her name. It's always just the one guy who owns the studio.
Okay.
And so now this is her last weekend. So I think tomorrow is her last day in the studio, and then she's gonna go. She's working 100% on her own. So if anybody out there needs a colorist, as soon as Door Kickers is done, she will definitely be able to squeeze you in, and probably in the meantime, she can do some other work too. So
I'm thinking of having somebody take a stab at coloring the black and white graduation cover of College of the Dead.
Dude, I would be ecstatic to let her do a.
All right, so we'll talk about it. We could talk about it off stream, but yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Her big thing is she needs to keep working, and she needs clients. She needs money and more experience. And
that's exactly right. And she's a worker too. That's what I like about her. She respects the art, so she does everything she can to complement the art. And she does make little minor kind of shifts here and there.
She adds value. We call that adding value. She's not a flatter. No offense to the flatters. You need flatters. So like guys, what a flatter would be is just someone that puts down basic colors. And if you look at colored pages that are just the flats, it's just kind of like guidelines. And where you would do what with color. And then when you finish coloring them, sometimes they're different people, the flatter, and sometimes, if you're a great colorist, they'll just do it. You'll never even see the flat part of the work, or they might not even do it.
So she shares the flat with me when she does a page. The process is she'll show me the flat, and I'll give her any notes that I may have, especially if she hasn't picked up on a key thing or whatever. And then once I give her those notes and I approve the flats, man, she's off to the races. And I like sharing the flats too, because her flats are damn good,
But be careful about sharing the flats, because not everybody understands the production. So sometimes I see people share flats and I'm like, People don't know what they're looking at sometimes.
Well,
It's
the
almost like
other
sharing rough pencils,
is
like
right.
rough layouts,
So
but they're
my
more
thought
obvious, I think.
my thought is that if it looks cool, then it's good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
that's
you know,
true.
there are some things that she's shown me that I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I would expect to see, but it's just not exciting. So
Yeah, okay.
we're not gonna release
As long
that
as you
because
edit
I
it.
don't want
Yep.
to confuse people.
Good. Exactly. Yeah,
All
you're
right.
great with your presentation of stuff. It always looks good.
So this here is this is just the sketch. I haven't got the final, but if this is the sketch from Matt Weldon, I can only
That's a
imagine.
sketch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess he's probably going to come back and ink it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the final version is.
That's
He's one of those
great.
kind of guys that he'll get loose. Like if you look up here and where the stock and the sleeve are, that's pretty loose.
Mm.
And then he comes back and tightens it up in his inking
Yeah, he
process.
has
So
a lot of energy in his work. It's very interesting work. He does that comic punchline.
mhm.
Um, his partner in that, Bill, is the writer. I don't know Bill's last name. And they're currently being published through Antarctic, I think, right?
Yeah, Anarch Press. That's
Yeah,
right.
he's a nice guy. Very nice,
And,
actually, very extremely nice guy,
and he is
excessively nice guy.
consistently one of the best guys on, Drawn and Quartered. I mean, his stuff always looks good. You know,
I had some interactions with him. He was working on I think it was Kid Nefarious, a book from that's a Kickstarter book. He's an artist on that for a couple of years or something, and I'd had some interactions with him over the last couple of years, every now and again, and he was just like consistently just one of the most positive, nicest guys I've ever run into. So yeah, terrific. Um, it makes me wonder. So you're thinking of doing this as kind of like the Marvel Universe style thing where you show characters and then stats and things like that, which is
right,
fantastic.
right,
Um,
right, right.
I, so is this art going to be in the book if people want to buy, what they're
So
seeing?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know yet.
Okay.
The idea was that this was going to be a stretch goal beyond the 10K
Mm,
level for that, like the story. But you know yeah, I haven't. It just hasn't worked out to get
okay.
the levels that I would need to add those full extra pages into the back of the book.
Sure.
So I'm going to do some accounting, and I'm essentially
Okay.
going to take all my profit and dump it into this book. So anything that is, well, profit, you know what I mean. Any
Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
money I have, I'm going to dump it back into putting content into this book to give the readers as much value as possible. And then, these may end up being the book, and they may not be.
All
This
right. Well,
I
you know
could
what?
add.
If you want to announce it as a stretch goal, I'm happy to do a show with you. If you're thinking about it and you're like, you know what? Here's the number we need to hit, and we're attacking it, and that's it. Happy
Well,
to
I mean,
help.
we'll see how it goes. I mean, like for instance, if we're able to hit 10K this week, then maybe I tack it on as a 12K stretch goal,
Mm.
and maybe in the last 3 days we can get
Well,
there.
much
You know,
respect, man, that you're saying, look, here's what I got to do. First of all, I'm not sure. I just know I love this work, which is great. And everyone loves it. It's great looking work. It's interesting. All those people have followings. Huerta and Donald and
mhm.
Weldon, they all have followings, who'd love to be able to get it. But much, much, much respect for you to be like, look, honestly, Adam, I'm going to do my numbers, and let my numbers
Yeah.
tell the story. And we have to be very careful as publishers that we can deliver what we promise. It's okay if it's a little later than expected, whatever, that's fine. Although I only say that out of respect to my brothers, because for me, I published for a long time, so I believe that delivery part, we got to just try and get stuff on time whenever we can.
No, no,
Um, and, and, and
absolutely.
if Ethan wants to deliver a year from now, I'm willing to wait. His work is a masterpiece, but if it's not Ethan's, I don't know, man. But in any event, put it this way: I love that you're saying you want to check your numbers before you promise something,
Well,
because it's true. Those costs can all of a sudden get out of control, and you make a
and
promise if you can't keep it. And no one wants us to lose, so much money making books that we can't keep making more books.
Well, and the other thing too is that this art, if it doesn't show up in the book, I mean, who knows? I think one of the things that I'd really like to look at for the next Door Kickers campaign is maybe putting some cards in there, some trading cards, and building
Yeah.
that in from the beginning. So that's like part of either,
Part of the plan.
either it's a stretch goal for everybody who backs physically, or it's a separate tier at a higher, because those premium, cards, I think, especially if I could, I like the
Oh
idea
yeah,
of
they would be beautiful.
cards.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for trading cards. Absolutely.
So anyway,
Absolutely.
so this is Marius, right? So Marius is the combat mage of the team. So he works in both magic and guns. But ultimately, his biggest value, like you saw in that first opening scene to the Panzer Demon campaign, is magic, right? So you had Stillen and Bill bust through the door popping caps, and then Marius is right there with his freeze spell. Ted, showed him on the cover shooting, the spirit gun out of his fingers. So he's usually going to go to magic as his, best piece of value for the team. So he's got some unique kind of cues, right? So he doesn't have night vision goggles on, because why wear night vision goggles when you can just cast a spell on yourself and then be able to see in the dark?
Very
And
cool.
I mean, so you don't know that going into the story. You just notice that everybody has nods on it. He doesn't. And,
Just a
I
quick
don't,
question on the casting of a spell. Do you have them say words to cast a spell?
yeah. So he does have like words that he has to say. And like in my universe, so there's something that I'm stealing directly from the Warhammer 40K universe. I mean, literally, I'm stealing the exact same concept.
Okay,
So
what is it? That's cool.
there's the idea of these words of power, right?
Mm.
Like certain words and certain saying and certain combinations of things just have an inherent power. So like you may only say the first word of something, and because it is part of a larger thing, then the power starts to build, within you. And in
Here.
the Ravenor novels in Warhammer 40K, it's called a nuncia, right? It's this whole idea of this a
Well, it's
nunci.
like Alakazam, you know.
Yeah, right. But the idea is like, if so like one of the things that happens like in the second part of the book in the new Door Kickers book is, Jigna starts to read this, ancient language, unknown language scroll, and she's reading it, and as she reads it, the power builds up inside of her and literally blows up in her face.
Ouch.
And right, so it literally her face explodes, but not like, not destroying her face, but it's enough to knock her back and concuss her. And Parker's got to step in with his magic healing and comes in and
Oh, cool.
saves the day, right? So anyway, so there's that I saw that in the 40K stuff, and I'm like, I'm using that. That's got to be used. I mean, I'm not going to call it a nuncia, but that's I'm straight up where
Yeah. Hey,
I'm drawing.
Alakazam. What
That
the
yeah,
heck
it's just a more developed version
version
of
of
the
that?
idea of
Okay.
magic words. So anyway, he
Okay.
does have words, and he has little kind of things he has to do with his hands, and it depends on what kind of magic he's doing.
Mm.
I've kind of drawn the line. The kind of drawing from my background in Dungeons and Dragons, you've got magic, which is kind of inherently tapping into the power within the universe, and you can do that through gestures and words and writing and wards and things like that. And then you've got a different kind of power, like you see in the cleric class within Dungeons and Dragons, that's more focused on healing and benevolent types of power, and that is more, So it's kind of like they don't use the same energy in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not compatible. Like, so one guy generally doesn't got to be able to do both. People are kind of drawn towards the power within the universe that resonates more with them.
Them and who they are and how they conduct themselves and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
exactly. And so some of that's maybe personality based, and other of it may be, there may be a genetic makeup or something like that. But
Mm.
so that's how, and so like, for instance, Parker is drawn to that other kind of more healing centric power or cleric style power. But I'm not going to draw it. I'm not going to, in Dungeons and Dragons, it's all about worship of a god, and the god gives you, kind of imbues you with some of their power, and that's how you learn to heal and things like that. It's not like that. It's just more of a different kind of a color of energy, right? So you got blue energy and green energy, you know. So I don't know. I'm just, you know, using that as an example.
You know what's
So anyway,
interesting is there's all sorts of wacky and interesting energies that I've heard discussed around Comicsgate about Green Lantern, because Ethan was so big on Green Lantern. It's the one series I never followed, so I'm like not familiar with any of what that
I
is.
never followed any DC stuff. I mean, the only time I tried to follow DC stuff was when John Byrne jumped down on Superman was back in the
Mhm.
late '80s.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure I read Man of Steel, but I guess like you too, I
yeah,
really
right,
kind of
Man of Steel,
never.
right.
I used to have like I still have them hopefully somewhere, like the Neil Adams Batmans and stuff, like the really amazing, cool older stuff. I had some of that stuff, but yeah, it was always like Marvel, Fantastic Four, and like the interaction of those characters. You
Yeah,
know.
for me, it was X-Men, GI Joe, New Mutants. You know, pretty much I was really sucked in with anything that Claremont was touching. And then later I got into the Avengers and Iron Man and some of the more classic characters. I never really got into Fantastic Four that much, but I totally appreciate them. I did
You know,
collect.
the early Fantastic Four. Ethan was talking about the other day too. Like I felt the same way because some of the might have been the first comics I got were like Fantastic Four, like in the '60s. Like I think it's '64, issue '64, where Thing is fighting against Doctor Doom. I mean, the amount of dynamic energy that Jack Kirby was able to put into pages. Like, there's no way to be a kid and not to be drawn into that. And that is not accidental, and it's not just like a style. It's someone really thinking about how they're going to try to accomplish something, and then just working at it until it happens, maybe for decades. Who
Yeah,
knows?
no doubt. You know, I mean, for me, it was always about like I was always drawn to things first because of the art back in, and story came, and then I stayed for story, right? You know, but the art was really the thing. Like so, John Byrne, anything he was doing back in the '80s, Alpha Flight, Fantastic Four, I was always, you know, following that stuff. So anyway, so yeah, so that was really what drew me into that.
Mm.
And so I love how we get distracted. That's why I know I like talking to somebody is because I easily get distracted and we go down rabbit holes together.
Yeah,
We
well,
go
it's interesting because it's interesting to all of us. Like all of us who are really into comics, who love comics, we picked them up as a kid. We never put them down. It was just like, all right, it's
Well,
stuff that
I'll
we
be
all
honest
kind
with
of
you.
care
Like
about.
in my life, I just haven't had a lot of friends who were
Mm.
big comics people. That wasn't like a part. I didn't seek out people who were into the same hobbies as me. My hobbies were always kind of my own. So I don't. You know, there was a lot. There was years at a time that I didn't talk about comics with anybody because it was just, you know, it didn't have anything to do with my life. Outside of the fact that I was interested, you know, at home. So this is kind of a nice thing about my interaction with Comicsgate is that I'm able to talk about these things that I just generally don't have an outlet for.
Yeah, it's just there's something about comics that if you get them when you're young. I mean, not everybody cares about them, obviously, but there's a heck of a lot of us, like millions of us, I'm sure, that it really resonated for us. Um, and there was so much about him that became unforgettable. So, who the heck is this guy?
Oh man! So this is the first character of the team that I ever created. So that, like literally, I created this guy first,
Mm.
and you know, well, I came up with the idea for the team, and then when I started thinking about like different types of characters, this was the first one that I created. And through all the iterations of the team that I've had in my head, he's always been there. He has never wavered. He is like my best idea. Um, that I've had, I think, in a long time. So this guy is Stillen, and so Stillen only works as a good idea. He doesn't. He can work by himself. The problem is that they're all. It's like he is the most different from the rest of us, both in his background and where he comes from, and what his daily reality is the most strange and different from what any of ours is. So I don't want to get too much into his background.
All right.
Needless to say, he is not a living and breathing human little boy, right? He is. He is. You know, I like to think of him as the Frankenstein of my team.
Cool.
Um, and I'll just leave it there. And the idea is I want to build the layers from there. Stillen has a background in war. He's been fighting longer than you and I have been alive. And there are subtle cues to his background within his costume, especially this version of it. You know, the you know, he has superhuman strength. But not like superhuman where he could go bench press an M1 tank. He could probably bench press like a ton. You know, so he's like that kind of level, you know, that lower level of superhuman strength versus like just the, you know, just stupendous kind of strength you see in a lot of characters.
Sure.
He's also very resilient. That being said, he is made of flesh and blood just like you and me, and he gets damaged just as easily. So, like in the first opening bit of the new DOORKICKERS Panzer Demon, he gets severely burned. You know, his hood gets burnt off. His, you know, the sleeves and his, you know, pretty much anything that is, you know, touching this flaming bad guy that, you know, the narwhal cover. You saw the narwhal cover, right?
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
So that's a picture of him fighting.
Just a quick aside, everybody. Narwhal did a video today without his mask. It's his new thing.
This is doing the face reveal, huh?
Doing the face reveal. He's got a beard. Sorry.
Well, we already knew that.
Well, but it's about writing too, and I really like stuff about writing. If anybody and any of the mods happen to know where the heck his link is to his video, or you know what? No, I'll screw something up if I try to find it. But everybody sees Narwhal's new video. It's very cool. Something about writing. It was very good. Sorry about that, Scott.
So no, the hood, you know, like, so the thing I like about the hood and his costume is the fact that, you know, like a costume and a superhero, the way the DOORKICKERS look is going to change every time. Now I'm going to try to keep certain cues, you know, whether it's, you know, Stillen's hood or, you know, Bill's, you know, night vision goggles or whatever. I mean, these are going to be kind of some reoccurring themes. You know, Parker's got a beard. You know, Sugar, the sniper, you'll see him in a second. He always wears a baseball cap, you know, things like that. You know, no matter what changes on them, there will be certain kind of consistent things to kind of, so that you're able to continue to reference back to the original.
You recognize these guys, yeah. Sure. That's cool.
So with Stillen, for instance, like the hood gets burnt off. So it's not like Snake Eyes, you know, like he's always got a mask on, right? You know, he's that character. He always never talks and always has a mask on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, with Stillen, you know, the narwhal's cover you see is full head because the hood, you know, the hood is not gonna, you know, unless you're the Nomex hood, it's not gonna stand up to flame very well. So the hood gets burnt off in this fight, but you know, the next time you see him in another story, he'll probably have a different hood back on. That's more about who he is and how he perceives himself. And the fact that the man Stillen is today is not the man that he was when he was younger. And so it kind of, the shrouding of his face is more about his, you know, his face and why he doesn't really want to present a face to the rest of the world, that type of thing. So there's some actual psychological stuff, some layers there that explains why he does it. And I'll talk about that as I develop the story, but ultimately,
very cool.
There's a reason behind that. That's not just aesthetic.
I'm sure. Yeah. And he's not just holding a sword because swords are cool.
Well,
you know,
he's holding a sword because he found that badass sword in the 10-page preview. And he's like, I'm keeping this sucker because it works.
Nice. I like that. I like that kind of thinking. Very practical.
And speaking of practical, the gun he always uses is a short barrel FN FAL. Shooting with a 7.62 round, which is a big damn round, and it makes a big noise. So yeah, that's another kind of key piece of, you know, the weapons are another thing I like to kind of keep on the characters. You know, the idea is that once you get used to a certain type of weapon, you know, that's what you like to use. So
yeah, that's what you're good with.
Unless you need to do something different, you know, like, so his other weapon that he uses a lot is an old German MG3 or MG42, which is it's a medium machine gun. So it's pretty damn awesome, and that makes an appearance later in the Panzer Demon story. I
He
know.
looks like he's killed a lot of people. This guy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of he's got a lot of miles on him.
We'll talk more about him when the secrets come out a little bit. People get to see him in play.
Absolutely.
Maybe prior to Door Kickers 2 or whenever you're ready. But he's interesting.
This image is by Donald DeLay, man. This is just an awesome
Don, wow. But Donald DeLay is freaking great.
Yeah, he killed this, and I'm definitely gonna ask him to, do a little more, maybe down the road, maybe a cover or something, because I just love his touch with this. So
he has a great aesthetic. He has a lot of energy. His characters are really powerful. You show him reference of the energy that you want him to represent. He can do that. Donald worked on Brutus the Badass, which I think is almost done, and Vestige, which everybody knows from the War Campaign crew, and that's coming out soon. I backed Vestige. Brutus is before my time. I don't know if it's still available. I should go get that. I don't know if it's available. You guys should get. You should get Brutus the Badass, and definitely Vestige. I think is still available for sure.
Yeah,
that's another great looking book.
Yeah, Vestige is one I'm really looking forward to.
Everything Donald DeLay is cool. I want everybody to know that everything that I do is going to be cool, but I got to still prove it yet. So you'll see. It will be. Everything that Scott does is going to be cool. Who's this guy?
This is Sugar. Because his kiss is oh so sweet from 500 yards away.
Okay.
So he's his nickname's Sugar. He's the team sniper. He's always got that baseball cap on, either backwards or forwards. He's got a beard too, but his is more of the kind of more of the spiky goatee beard. He's an interesting guy. The original concept for him was almost like a crusader type dude, right? Well, I was thinking about this, and I'm like, how many crusader type guys do you see walking around? Well, you probably see them every day. You just don't know it because they don't wear, a tabard, like a white and red tabard over their chainmail like they used to.
When you say crusader type guy,
literally a Catholic who wants to, spread the love of Jesus Christ with a high powered rifle.
Oh, okay.
That's right. So in this world, remember I talked about the idea that there's different types of energies and stuff. Yeah. And so
I believe in that, even if we don't know how to use them, or some of us do.
Exactly. So
I believe in it.
This guy, he really taps into, he's very much about, chanting, and, he's very almost monastic in his kind of outlook of life. That being said,
and you have a professional background, having been in the military yourself, and I know very little about it, but from what I've heard too, that they don't let snipers stay in a position for more than a certain amount of time.
The other side of that is the sniper may sit there, all day long waiting for the 1 second shot type thing. So it's
discipline.
Very much, it's all about and there's a difference between snipers in the field versus urban snipers, which are shorter range, and it's a different discipline. But this is a guy who's he's a jack of all trades when it comes to long guns and snipers.
Talk about long guns. That is one long gun.
Hey man, in order to maintain that, so the longer the barrel is, the higher the velocity of the bullet's going to be when it leaves. So
interesting.
Most of your sniper rifles are, so like a M4 carbine that we use in the Army is a 14.5 inch barrel, but the old M16 is 20-inch barrel. This is probably a 24-inch barrel. The gun he uses is a HK G33. I'm sorry, G28, which is the H&K 7.62. I think a lot of people know it as 417. I can't remember. It's a 7.62 version of the 416 rifle that H&K makes. It's a pretty sweet gun. But he's got a thermal scope on top of there. So he definitely has some different technology, but he also, like I said, he uses liturgies and some different kind of meditation. Like his background is he's a Catholic, and so he is very much in the lore of his church as far as being able to. No, it's not a PSG. It's a G28. Yeah, that's their kind of new 7.62 sniper rifle.
Fascinating.
If it actually, Edward, if you search the M110A1, that's the U.S. Army's version of the exact same rifle. So,
well, and who drew this one?
this is Ted Lehman. So this is the same guy.
Ted Lehman, fantastic.
Another awesome Comicsgate artist that I hope to see get a lot more work in the near future. He's spot on when it comes to guns and gear and stuff like that. And he's not too darn bad at drawing people too. So as you can see,
yeah, he's excellent.
So that's Sugar. He has an appearance on the first page and then he kind of comes in. He's got a critical moment later in the story. So I look forward to kind of exploring this guy a little more. And we're back to Bill. So those are the folks in the team. Now, I'm really disappointed that Alejandro didn't get the chance to join us because I really wanted.
I'm really looking forward to us doing this again when we can spend time with him.
Well, so since he can't be here, I thought maybe the final thing that we could talk about. So earlier this week, I showed off some of his work, and I showed off an unused concept for the Panzer Demon, right? So he basically gave me. So I've hired him to design the Panzer Demon, and he gave me 3 kind of initial ideas to just kind of. He and I talked, and then based on our talk, he gave me 3 very different kind of directions to go. And so I chose a direction. And what I thought I would do, I shared one of the rejected ones earlier this week, but I thought I would just go ahead and share some of the other ones with you guys.
Definitely, we'd love to see it. Alejandro's work, people remember him from Long Harbor.
Long Harbor, right. So,
which just an amazing book.
And so it's closed right now on Indiegogo, but I've had conversations with him, and I'm probably talking out of
optimism,
out of school. But I think he may be. May be opening that campaign again soon, but we'll see.
We'll put that on me. He might be thinking about doing it again. So anybody could reach out to him online on Twitter and encourage him and say, "Hey, I didn't get it the first time around. I don't think I got it. That's just me. I didn't get it the first time around. I wanted a chance to get Long Harbor. I'm sure a lot of people do. Wow. All right, that's a demon.
Yeah. So this is the rejected concept art I showed earlier this week, and it's very much so. Like one of the things that he and I talked about was the idea of merging dissimilar animal types together into something that's utterly horrifying, yet also making it alien. And so the idea, does that make sense?
It does. It's like Shinobi Sasquatch, the werewolf, whatever that monster is. Multiple genres. Sometimes 2 is enough, but if you can make it work with 3, that's fantastic.
Well, if anybody who's seen his stuff that he did for Long Harbor, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because he has a shark with the entire rib cage of the shark has exploded open and turned into octopus tentacles coming out. Like, so it's just a perfectly horrifying creature. And so I'm really looking forward to the final version of this because it's gonna be sick. I'm so looking forward to it. So anyway, this is the first one. Now this is very much kind of animalistic and down on all fours kind of thing. And I just didn't feel like this got what I needed it to do.
That's a great monster, but is it a demon?
Yeah, right. It's exactly right. It's just not right for what. and so who knows? I mean, you may see this pop up somewhere else down the line in Door Kickers, but this is not going to be the demon.
That's not the Panzer Demon.
That's right. So the next one was this one. So this really looks very ant meets, I don't know,
grasshopper,
arthropod, like isopod from something down in the bottom of the ocean, crustacean type thing.
Could be like like a part off of another creature too.
Right. And it even has a little bit of the alien, but it's so alien that it's not like, it's not like the alien creature from, Ridley Scott's film where it had arms and legs, right? This has no arms. It has a bunch of things, right? And it doesn't have eyes that I can see. So I really love the design, and I will be using this design. This design is not rejected. That being said, it's not going to be the Panzer Demon. I love the way it looks, but it still has very minion kind of. This is the minion.
Yeah. I was going to say it too.
Right?
He looks like he doesn't look like he's the top guy.
That's right. That's exactly right. So there are some guys that pop up right before the team breaks down the final door to get to the Panzer Demon, and this will probably be what one of those guys looks like. Cool. So, and then the next one I'm getting ready to show you. Now, this is not the Panzer Demon. We're not finished, but this is the one that I said, okay, this is of the three of these. This is
you're hard to work for. Tough man to please.
That's right.
It's got to be right. It's got to be right.
This is the one that best represents my concept of what the Panzer Demon is. It's alien, but yet it also has some,
animals.
So yeah, some animalistic kind of stuff. So
that's
all
great.
right. So let me show you. Let me go ahead and click forward. So this is
it.
Yeah. So this is and so if you look at the print that I released, you can kind of see a shadow of this guy in the background. So he's kind of in the mist in the background, but the Panzer Demon will look different. But this is the basic idea. I just love the tentacles meet the insect arms with it seems like it has a hard and both soft body parts.
If people research Alejandro a little bit, I was looking at him a little bit as he explained some of his background on his campaign, and he worked with marine biologists or something like that. So he's actually seen up front incredible weird creatures, and as an artist, he got to see that and absorb that and understand that, and what made them work, and what made them creepy, and what made them interesting, and what made them beautiful too. So his designs no one's going to match his design.
Yeah,
his design is going to be unique.
I haven't seen anything to rival his ability to do exactly what this is going for in Comicsgate. I mean,
anywhere. He also does. He does design for film. He does character design for film.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah. He's and video games. So this is a high-end artist that has decided he wants to play in our sandbox, and we are very lucky to have him.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I even told him, I was like, listen, I want to pay you more, but I can't because, when we were talking price, I was like, hey man, this is my budget. I can't work probably where you feel like you deserve. But that being said,
you're not a movie studio, so he has to decide, if it's worth his time. And
that's the thing I loved about him. He was totally willing to work with me.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into any kind of
how much was it? No, only kidding. Let's just say, you can as long as you're being honest with people with talent that you want to work with, they can always say no. Just always be honest with them.
Absolutely.
Let them decide, and that's it. And you're doing that. I'm just saying this to anybody else who hears this, because obviously you know how to work with talent because you're working with Kelsey Shannon and Don DeLay and Alejandro and Farrah is a great talent. A lot of people, so you're a great communicator with them. So anyone else, if you want something from them, you just tell them what you have in mind. Be as clear as you can. And the one thing I have to find for myself as a publisher to do is it's hard to not reach out to someone and tell them that you want to work with them, but you're not quite ready yet as to what to give them to work on. I do it sometimes. I try to do it very sparingly because you don't want people to think that you have work for them, um,
Well,
unless you do. But you
like
obviously do. I'm just saying. I'm talking about my weaknesses.
there are several other talents out there that I reached out. Like Matt Weldon was a perfect example. When I first reached
Mm.
out to him, I had nothing for him to work on, and I probably wouldn't have anything to work on for quite some time. But the idea is that you like somebody's art, and the great thing in Comicsgate is you can reach out to them and open the dialogue.
Yeah, right
Um,
on Twitter. Right
and
on
then you
Twitter.
start to relate to them and you talk about their work and you ask them questions and you buy their stuff. Hey, I really like your stuff. I'd love to, you know I'd
Hey,
love
that
to
that's a
get an
cool.
original piece, or I'd love to support your book. Where can I buy your book, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. And then 3, 4, 5 months later down the road, once you've got like, hey, I've got a project coming up and I'm looking for a cover artist. That's how I kind of reached out to a couple different people.
Sure.
And in the case of like Alejandro, he was exactly that. I mean, when I heard
Mm.
about Long Harbor, I just wanted to get to know this guy who's this amazing artist.
Mm.
And we just kind of DM back and forth from time to time. And, I would like his posts and I would
Mm.
comment on his posts and then so once Door Kickers started getting closer, I said, hey, I've got this book, Door Kickers, coming out. It has a very much of a, cosmic horror vibe to it that I think really touches, your work really touches where,
In his
I got
universe, the door kickers might show up in Long Harbor one of these days. Who knows?
who knows, man? I mean,
They could be.
anything to get Alejandro to draw my guys would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and that's how we opened the dialogue. And he wasn't available for a long time,
Mm.
so I just kept from time to time.
Touch and base, right?
I'd see something, I'd touch base with him, and that's how this was able to come around. He finally said that, hey, he's got some stuff in, and like, so for instance, I wanted him for a cover, but by the time he came back to me, he wasn't able. The time for a cover was over, and I was like, well, hell, would you do character designs for me? So
It's very cool.
yeah,
Yeah, and guys, if you reach out to a talent like Alejandro, whomever, just don't take it personally if they either don't respond or if they're short with you. Everybody has a lot going on in their lives. They're not out to get you, and you just be straightforward and professional and friendly with people. And sometimes it is just timing, exactly like you just described, Scott. So you can get a relationship going with people. It's just sometimes the timing isn't right. So just always, if it doesn't come together, just assume the timing isn't right, and move on. And then you could always touch base again a little bit later in the future. And it's how you also get a great reputation, because someone like Alejandro might never have been able to do anything for Scott, but Alejandro knows a lot of other artists. He might have recommended somebody to Scott.
right. That's absolutely right. And so,
Networking, baby, and it's very valuable networking. It's as important as money.
well, I know we don't have 1,000 people watching the stream right now, but if anybody that's watching right now or watches later, if you guys haven't backed the book, this week is really when I need you guys to step up. If you don't have a whole lot of scratch to put together, hey, just get the digital copy. If it's $25, no shipping. If you want both covers, that's a pretty good way to go. $45 is a price point for both covers. You save a little bit on shipping, and then you
You
also
want
save on the second
you want to
book.
just go through the tiers real quick?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
it's worth it.
single issues are pretty reasonable at 25 a piece, both for either cover individually. Um, and and then finally, for the big dogs out there, and I know a couple people have kind of reached out to me and said that they're interested in these, but I think they're kind of holding off, is the original art tier, which gets you so far I think we've sold 4 of those. So first come, first serve. So if you buy original art today, you'll be the 5th one, and you'll get the 5th choice on pages from the book. So we're going to send out a catalog to those people who buy that after the campaign's concluded, and after all the pages are done, and show everybody the 20 pages that are available, and you guys just choose first come first serve from that list. So that's a high price point, and I know it, but you get you get a piece of original art, you get the book signed, and probably some extras thrown in, because I'm not cheap, and
Yeah, and you're helping make a great book. And Scott is going to have a lot more coming out after this, I'm sure. And you got some great connections, Scott. And you're for this to be a first book. I comment on this, almost every stream, is that for something like Door Kickers to be somebody's first book is a big deal. My first book didn't look anywhere near as good as this. That was 30 years ago, but still, it's a beautiful looking book. It's fantastic. I love how College of the Dead came out, but it's also black and white, because I knew for what my plans were, that was the right book for me to do in black and white. You have a beautiful looking color book. You have a great colorist. You're so careful about putting it all together. I backed your book. For me, I did take the digital tier because, and I decided, like with a lot of my friends, it's just easier for me to keep track of.
yeah.
And the stuff that when I get packages in, sometimes like I just put them somewhere and then I lose them, and then like it's not even there. And for me, digitally, I have access to it all the time. And then I offered College of the Dead digitally for a few days, and I was like, nah, I don't want to offer it digitally, so I took it down. And yeah, so but I think you have a lot of great options. I can see people easily getting the 2 covers at least. That's only like $50 plus shipping, right?
Yeah. So two covers is $45. So you save $5 on the
$5.
book. You're paying the same shipping as a single book, so you're saving money on the shipping. So 2 books is a great option for international guys who, 2 guys get together, they order that, and then it's just a matter of deciding who wants which cover.
They're both great covers. Well, it's fantastic. Everybody should really back Door Kickers. The link is in the description. My book, College of the Dead, the link is in the description as well. My book is a zombie apocalypse that takes place on a college campus, and teachers and students have to fight for their lives to deal with the zombies. And it's really a terrific zombie apocalypse story. And it's 140 pages, and it's all completely done, shipping next month, which is super, super exciting for me.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
All right, Scott, I want us to do another show. If we can get Alejandro, it's great. But you know what? We're all going to be so fascinated with him. We'll probably spend a hell of a lot of time talking to him, and won't get as much time in on Door Kickers as we want anyway. So his work looks great. Thank you for sharing the designs of those demons. It's really, really cool. Guys, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like this video, share it around, and back Door Kickers. You got to get yourself some Door Kickers. Scott, is there anything else we have to cover, or we told the people what they need to know?
I think that's it for today. This is the last week of the campaign. It's really important. Trying to get to 10K. If we can get to 10K by Wednesday, I'll probably announce a 12K stretch goal, including additional content for the book. So
fantastic. Guys, so the little extra effort. You guys are amazing on retweets. We really appreciate it. But a little extra on the retweets if we can this week. Just a couple of extra retweets, a couple of extra, hey, have you guys seen this? Did you know it was ending in the last week? If you don't mind doing that, it's going to really help out Scott. It's going to really help out Comicsgate, and that would just be really, really appreciated. And I know you're all going to love this book when you get it. It's obviously it's 99% done. And it's a great looking book.
99% done, but it's cruising on towards.
It's getting done.
Yeah.
When is this thing going to be? When are we planning on shipping?
We're looking at January, February timeframe.
Cool. So right after something great to look forward to for next year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so hopefully I'll have something to announce around that time frame for the next Door Kickers. So
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. It's going to be good. Get your Door Kickers to get your doors kicked. This is the right book to back. Back it, my friends. Links in the description. Make it happen. Scott, thanks for being with me, brother. Great to be with you again, and we got to do this again soon.
Anytime.
All right, talk to you soon. Guys, have a great night. Fantastic.